Have you ever felt like some people in your life were born just to break you? To make you angry on purpose? Just when you're trying to stay calm, they seem to target your weakest spots. Imagine there are people who try to provoke you, even during your most peaceful moments. They criticize, manipulate, and dump their emotions onto you as if it's your responsibility to carry them. But now you're different. You've begun to understand that it's not the problem itself, but your reaction to it that reveals your true strength. In this video, I'll reveal how to deal with toxic people without losing control. With the power of Stoic philosophy, you'll learn how to respond not with emotions, but with reason, and how to protect your inner peace. And by the end of this video, I'll also share practical, easy-to-apply methods that can immediately create real change in your life. These are techniques that smart people have used for years, and I want you to know and apply them too. So subscribe to the channel now, like the video, and share it with friends who are also walking the path of stoicism and self-mastery. If you're ready, let's begin. Let's first define what a toxic person actually is. A toxic person isn't just someone who causes you physical harm. More often, it's someone whose words, actions, and behavior emotionally exhaust you and wear down your spirit. Here's how they show up. They disturb your peace, at work, at home, or even among friends. While you're simply trying to relax, they stir up arguments, make snide comments, or create tension. Suddenly, you don't feel comfortable anymore. Their words and actions keep replaying in your mind. They plant seeds of doubt and weaken your self-confidence. For example, you want to start a new project, and they say things like, "What's even going to come of that? Do you really think you can do it?" Over time, you slowly start doubting your own abilities. They play the victim and try to make you feel guilty. Imagine a friend who never calls you, but then gets angry at you and says, "Why don't you reach out anymore? Do you even care about us?" Even though you've often overlooked their behavior, they make you feel like you're the problem. To identify such people, ask yourself this simple question: how do I feel after interacting with this person? If your answer is tired, drained, tense, or emotionally worn out, that's a sign their energy is toxic to you. Let me give you an example. Imagine a coworker who, every time you share a good idea, responds with, "That'll never work. You're being way too optimistic. You tried that before. It didn't end well." Comments like these discourage you and make you start thinking, maybe they're right. This is toxic behavior. Or maybe it's a family member who constantly questions your decisions, saying things like, "Why did you do that?" making you feel guilty for your own choices. That's a form of emotional manipulation that erodes your self-confidence. So, toxic people don't lift you up, they drain you. Protecting yourself starts with recognizing them. Now, let's explore how you can shield yourself from such individuals. Toxic people know one thing very well: how to control you through your emotions. They aim to hurt you, disturb you, and throw you off your path. And here's the core rule of their game: if you react, you're already playing it. So what's their strategy? To insult you and drag you down to their level. To use passive-aggressive behavior that plants seeds of doubt. To subtly manipulate you into losing control. To constantly criticize you and shake your self-confidence. These are their favorite weapons. But those weapons only work under one condition: when you react emotionally. A reaction is an angry, impulsive, and uncalculated response. In that moment, the other person controls you, and you simply react. A response, however, is calm, deliberate, and thought out. That means you're in control. This is the core of Stoic philosophy. We are not disturbed by events themselves, but by our judgments about them. Marcus Aurelius. This quote has remained relevant for centuries because it speaks directly to human behavior. Imagine this. You have a colleague who constantly criticizes you. In every meeting, they try to discredit you. They say things like, "You're irresponsible. The plan failed because of you." Now you have two options. One, you react. You raise your voice and say, "Don't talk to me like that." The situation escalates. They become even more aggressive. And in the end, you're the one who looks emotional and unstable. 2. You respond. You take a deep breath and say calmly, "If there's a problem, we can discuss it constructively." But personal attacks won't help. At that moment, not only are you refusing to play the game, you're dismantling it. Because you're not reacting with emotion, you're responding with reason. When toxic people try to disturb you, your silence becomes your most powerful weapon, because it's the one they never expect. Your calm presence says, "I hear you, but I won't let you control me." Reaching this level takes practice and self-awareness. But never forget, every reaction is a transfer of power. Each time you react, you give them power. But when you respond, you take control back. So next time you feel yourself about to lose control, pause and remind yourself, "I can't control their behavior, but my response is 100% my choice." It may sound simple, but that one sentence can save you from anger, regret, and meaningless arguments. It becomes clear, a toxic person's greatest fear is your lack of reaction. Because without a reaction, there's no manipulation. You no longer play their game. You no longer lose control. You now hold the power within. Remember, the strongest person is the one who can stay calm in the middle of chaos. Sometimes people cross your boundaries simply because they don't know their own. Toxic people take full advantage of this. For them, no is a challenge, and they'll do everything they can to test you. They try to make you feel morally obligated, guilty, or like you're a bad person. Why? Because people without boundaries are the easiest to manipulate. So what happens in relationships without boundaries? If you constantly suppress your own needs to please others, feel afraid to say no, quietly suffer just to keep the peace, then your boundaries are weak, and that weakness is destroying your inner world. But setting boundaries is not about building walls. It's about saying, "See me, respect me, and value my energy." Through the lens of Stoicism, boundaries are strength. The Stoics taught, anything that disturbs your inner peace cannot affect you unless you allow it. That's the key. Boundaries protect your energy and help you lead your life. A person without boundaries is someone who accepts disrespect as normal. Imagine a family member or close friend who constantly treats you with aggression. They belittle you, but disguise it as a joke. They ignore your decisions, claiming it's for your own good. They make you feel indebted, but never support you. You stay silent for years, fearing the relationship will break. But the truth is, you break inside instead. One day you finally speak up, calmly and clearly, "I don't want to engage in this kind of relationship anymore. It drains my energy and makes me feel worthless." Yes, the other person might be offended. They might not respect your boundary. But in that moment, you've started protecting yourself. Setting boundaries doesn't end the relationship. It changes how the relationship works. People often take no as rejection. But in reality, saying no, choosing yourself, saying this doesn't work for me, knowing yourself, saying I can't allow this, honoring your worth. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, that's their problem, not yours. So how do you set healthy boundaries? 1. Know yourself. Be clear about what you want to say yes or no to. 2. Be firm and calm. Don't be angry, be clear. 3. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Saying, "This is my personal choice" is enough. 4. Stay consistent. Toxic people will push harder when denied. Don't back down. From all this, one truth becomes clear. Every relationship you have takes a portion of your energy. If you don't protect that energy, someone will come and take it freely. But what happens when you set boundaries? Your inner peace grows. People start treating you with more honesty and respect. You're no longer the one who has to choose. They are either respect you or walk away, and in both cases you win. Toxic people always want one thing: to control your reaction. Their biggest tactic is to trap you, to pull you into their game. But when you stay calm, they become confused. Your silence disrupts their chaos. What do toxic people expect? They want you to get angry, lose your temper, go on the defensive, doubt yourself. Because when that happens, they're in control. But when you remain silent, when you don't react, when you stay grounded in your position, When you don't explode emotionally, you break the game. And that silence doesn't come from fear. It comes from self-control, emotional awareness, inner balance. When someone remains silent, they're essentially saying, I'm not responsible for you. I'm responsible for my own energy. Let's go back to the earlier example. Imagine a colleague constantly criticizes you in meetings. You've messed this up again. What you're saying makes no sense. Maybe in the past you would have replied, tried to prove yourself, and ended up angry, restless, and drained. But this time, what do? You simply look at them, smile, say nothing. What happens next? They try again, maybe once or twice. Then they stop, because now they're alone in the game. Or imagine a family member who emotionally pressures you every day. You always forget about me. You don't care at all. These are guilt tactics. In the past, you probably explained yourself, felt guilty. But now, you take a deep breath. You quietly say to yourself, I act with integrity. And you hold your space, without defending, without arguing. Your silence will either force them to change or walk away. Silence increases your inner strength, weakens the toxic person's control, shifts the power dynamic in the relationship. This is not passivity, it's active control. Let me give you a few tips on how to use silence effectively. 1. The stop, observe, reflect technique. When you're under verbal attack, don't react immediately. Create a 3-second pause in your mind. This gives your brain time to respond consciously, not emotionally. 2. Use your body language. Maintain eye contact. Breathe deeply. Slightly nod or tilt your head to express silent disagreement. 3. Be silent but not passive. Silence is not the same as approval. It's a way to protect your energy while signaling your boundaries clearly. Toxic people expect you to explain yourself, desperately prove your worth, defend your actions. Silence makes all of these expectations collapse into nothing. And what happens then? If you hold your ground with this calm, centered silence, they'll either be forced to change or they'll leave your space entirely. Either way, you win, because you've delivered the most powerful message. You cannot control me without saying a single word. Standing up to toxic people requires more than inner strength. It demands practical strategies. It's not enough to simply be emotionally strong to deal with toxic people. You also need practical tools to protect your emotions, set clear boundaries, and avoid falling into emotional manipulation. You must build daily habits. This is not a one-time reaction. It's a behavioral model you commit to every day. And now, as I promised at the beginning of the video, let me walk you through these practical steps. 1. Keep your responses short. Don't over-explain. Toxic people feed off your explanations. They want long conversations. They try to get you to talk so they can find your weak spots. What should you do? Respond briefly and directly. Instead of trying to explain your emotions, calmly state your position. For example, this is my decision. I respect your view, but I'm not changing mine. Remember, a long answer invites manipulation. A short response shifts control back to you. 2. Create physical distance. Closeness is not an obligation. Sometimes, out of a sense of respect or because they're family, we allow toxic people to stay too close in our lives. But never forget, physical distance is the doorway to emotional freedom. What can you do? Reduce unnecessary meetings. If avoidance isn't possible, change your shared environment. For example, don't stay too long in the same room. Excuse yourself and leave. Distance, a chance to breathe. And when you can breathe, you can think. 3. Repeat your boundaries. Once is not enough. Toxic people won't accept your no the first time. They'll test you again and again. So, repeat your message calmly and consistently. Don't add extra explanations. Say things like, I don't want to talk about this. Please don't speak to me that way. My decision will not change. The more calmly and firmly you repeat your boundary, the more they'll realize this wall can't be broken. 4. At the end of the day, reflect. Toxic relationships don't just hurt you in the moment. They can linger for days, even years. To detox from this, you must reconnect with yourself. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I protect my boundaries today? At which moments did I lose control? How can I stay more balanced tomorrow? These simple questions help you build your emotional muscles. Because change requires knowing what you're doing, understanding why you're doing it, and clearly seeing what needs to be different. Real power begins the moment you change. Toxic people could control you when you were reactive, anxious, and boundaryless. But now, you don't react. You set boundaries. You know your worth. And what happens then? They get confused. Because the old version of you, the one who always responded, is now silent. The version of you that couldn't say no now says it with ease. The version that always gave in now walks their own path. This shift breaks the script they were counting on. And two things may happen. 1, they back off because they're no longer getting the reactions they want. Their energy supply is cut off and manipulation stops working. Over time, they disappear on their own. 2, or they begin to change because your calm strength becomes a mirror. Some might finally realize this relationship will no longer serve their old patterns. Maybe they won't change, and that's fine. Your power lies in choosing your own path. True freedom isn't about changing others. It's about not losing yourself. It's about setting boundaries, staying calm, and protecting your energy. Because when you change, your world changes. At first, there'll be resistance, then silence. Then comes either distance or respect. So remember, fighting toxic people isn't done by shouting, it's done by thinking. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because when you stay silent, they lose the ability to play their game. If you're not a slave to your emotions, if you choose to respond instead of react, if you can set boundaries, then you are already free. Never forget, toxic people want to make you like them. They want to provoke you and take control. But when you stay calm, their game falls apart. In this battle, the real winner is the one who protects their values. Because what truly protects you isn't walls, it's your ability to not react. In the end, you learn one vital truth. I'm not responsible for their behavior. I'm responsible for my response. And that thought, it's what sets you free. And finally, if you also feel that calmness is your shield, if this video gave you even 1 ounce of strength, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with others who need it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. This is a space for people who protect and rediscover themselves. Let's unite and grow stronger together. Our stoic journey will continue in the next video. Take care and stay grounded.